And I'm going to minister on something tonight. And again, my title, that's not my title, but my theme tonight is Pre-Revival Positioning Preparation. I want to recommend a couple books to you. You're not familiar with what this is saying in Jonathan Cahn's book, The Paradigm. If you could pull up Jonathan Cahn on YouTube, and you could get the short version. And if you to know this and this next book, especially Jezebel's War with America by Dr. Michael Brown. If you're totally unfamiliar with this, you may not understand some of what I'm going to say tonight. But I want to just, before I get to the scripture there, I want to share it to you, and just be patient with me tonight, because I got to feel this out. And I got so much to say tonight, and I want to be able to bring this to you tonight. I'll give my title here in just a little bit. But I feel like sometimes it's important that how a message comes about, and to me they come in many, many different ways. This message came about because I watched Donald Trump speech to the United Nations. The day before, he spoke to the United Nations about freedom of religion, that how persecution come against the church, and he spoke to the United Nations. I mean, it's so powerful. And then I didn't even know. I just somehow ended up watching him on when he was speaking to the United Nations. So I'm going to share some of the things that he shared, and then different responses that happened. And so Donald Trump is speaking in the United Nations, and I'll get to the scripture in a little bit. I just want to talk with you just a little bit, because there's an assignment. And what I'm going to speak on tonight has been confirmed by the gifts of the Holy Spirit. That this is just, I feel so comfortable just talking to you tonight. I had to perform. How this message came about was I was watching Donald Trump give his message to the United Nations. And one of the things that you have to comprehend is that there's a great move, I would say maybe 85, 90, I'm estimating 85% or 90% of the nations upon planet Earth, they want a one world government. And he stands up, and you see that's a strategy to destroy Israel. That it's over and over again, we'll say this tonight, that Satan, through all kind of, whether it be the Antichrist spirit, whether it be Jezebel, whether it be Chemosh, whether it be Baal worship, whether it be witchcraft, all these are coming, all of hell's coming together as a strategy to take over planet Earth. So this is just my opinion. In my opinion, the first George H. Bush, because he was pushing for one world government. That's why he didn't get reelected the second term, even though he was way, way ahead in the polls. And that's just my opinion. And when I say some of the things, I'm not saying you always don't have to agree with me. You just pray about these things. Okay, so when Donald Trump stands up and he says, no, every nation needs to stand by itself. This man is standing before all the nations upon planet Earth and saying no to one world government, and 85 to 90% of them don't believe like him. Yeah. And here he is standing there. Now, I want to say this again. I'm not talking to you as a Democrat or Republican or an independent. I'm talking to you from a biblical point of view. So when I say certain things, let me put it this way. I will never vote for any man or woman that believes in killing babies.
Yes, Lord.
Amen. That believes in promoting homosexuality. Yeah. Those are strategies that take over planet Earth. Okay, that's the point I'm coming from. If you don't understand that if you get your news, if you get your information from ABC, CBS, or NBC, the major networks, you're being lied to, you're being given witchcraft, you're being educated by propaganda. And if you believe that propaganda, okay, this is a strategy to take over planet Earth, it's a strategy to take over America. Okay, it's pro-homosexual. It's pro-killing babies. If you don't understand what killing babies is about, is that just today, when you listen to Sean Hannity, he plays these little bits of information, and he has these women yelling and screaming. And these women are yelling and screaming. There's too many people. Let's kill the people. We got to kill these babies. We got to stop all these babies being born. We got to stop the family. We got to destroy the family issue. We got to stop. There's too many people upon earth. We got to stop these babies because we got to save the dirt.
Wow.
We got to save Earth. Now I'm saying that if you get your news, from ABC, CBS, and NBC, you're being lied to. You're coming under a lying spirit. Satan is the father of all lies. Now I'll just say this without turning to. I got you in Ephesians chapter 2. Satan is the prince of power of the air. So he uses the airwaves, communication, to lie to people, to control. If you listen to that, you're coming under the spirit of witchcraft and control, trying to dominate you, lie to you, to manipulate you. And if you question the manipulation, then use intimidation, because it wants to bring in total domination. That's what Satan wants, is planet Earth. Okay, so when Donald Trump is speaking, again, I have so much to say that when Donald Trump is speaking, he talks about China. Think of how in debt America is.
Yes.
So he's trying to bring balance to the trade deficit between China. Now, they arrest people there for worshiping God, those controllers, witchcraft there. Satan has a hold of that nation. And they're taking so much money, and this guy has the courage to stand up against China.
Yes.
So then he talks to Japan. He talks about Japan in this speech, and he talks about how the trade deficit is so out of order, so that they're coming into agreement. America's coming in agreement. His administration coming in agreement with Japan. Just today, on the news, and this last month, 136,000 new jobs were created.
Wow.
136,000 jobs.
Praise God.
Because the unemployment is the lowest in 50 years.
Wow.
This guy knows what he's doing.
Yes.
That's true.
Now, again, Mama, forgive me. We were raised Democrats. I say, Mama, how come we're Democrat? We've always been Democrat. If Jesus was a Republican, the devil was a Democrat, my mama would have voted for the devil because he ran as a Democrat. See, the manipulation from generation to generation to generation to generation.
Yes.
Now, just stay with us for a little bit, okay? Then he takes on Donald Trump in his speech to the United Nations, takes on Iran.
He did.
The amount was billions of dollars that Obama and Hillary gave to Iran,
Crazy.
who say our goal is to destroy Israel, wipe them off of the face of the earth.
Yep.
And Donald Trump takes away that whole deal, has
Amen.
the courage.
Yes.
He takes on Iran as the United Nations. Now remember, whenever a president gives a speech like this, the media has the script. They know what's coming next. So when he comes to the end of one dressing with one nation, the cameras go to the next nation,
Yeah.
and Iran sitting there, steam is coming up off of that. I'm gonna bring this to the theme. I'll give my title a little bit. My theme is pre-revival, position your preparation. Now see, a lot of people, oh my God, if a revival breaks out, will they expect me to come to church more often? Or services be longer?
Yes.
Be messy too.
Revival break out, what? Mess with my idols? Donald Trump takes on Iran about the nukes, but they're lying about nukes. They want nukes. Now remember, Islam wants to take over planet Earth just like Nazism wanted to, like communism wanted to. That's what Islam wants. That's what Muslim want. So they want to control any nation with nukes so they can rule through war. They'll wipe out any nation,
Yes.
starting with Israel.
Oh, yes.
And you don't want to be broadcasting. I want to wipe out Israel. You're going to get God's attention. I'll say that a little bit, okay? Stay with me for a while here tonight, okay? Donald Trump and speaking to the United Nations is saying how that Iran is so financially supporting the main supporters of terrorism upon planet Earth. And they're sitting right there.
He says right out
Good.
there. Yeah, he is.
And what he's saying, that don't miss it. What he's saying is truth.
Yes.
What he's saying is fact, not opinion.
That's right.
Now, what ABC, CBS, and NBC is telling you is lies. What do they want? They want to control this nation.
Yes.
They want to control this nation. If you don't understand, Satan owns the powers of darkness, are in total control of the media.
Yes.
I would say at least 85% of the news that you get in America is pretty much witchcraft, propaganda, lies, accusations.
Certainly is.
It's demonically inspired. Liberalism has control, in my opinion, at least 85% of the media. He takes on Iran sitting right there, and it takes on about them bombing the oil field in Saudi Arabia, and they're sitting right there.
Yes. So bold.
This guy's different.
Yes.
Yes,
he is. Amen.
Hang with me, okay? Now,
Glory to
hang
God.
with me. Who would have ever? Now, let me tell you where I'm coming from, okay? When I first heard in, I think it was 2015, that Donald Trump was going to run for president, I go, this guy's crazy. This is my opinion. This is my feedback, okay? That this nation is right in the middle of a teeter-totter, could go either way.
Yes.
And I believe that God wants to bring it, as Tim Sheets has been teaching about this great revival of a billion people being saved. I would have never ever imagined that the future of America and the breakthrough would be really upon the shoulders of God through Donald Trump.
Yes. I know.
I believe he's one of the most dangerous men. I believe that Donald Trump is one of the most dangerous men in the history of America to liberalism.
Yes.
Amen.
And some people didn't understand. I didn't communicate real well. Remember now, Jehu used to be with Ahab and Jezebel, and then he changed, and then he was against, and then they came against him. And Donald Trump used to be pro-abortion, now it's pro-life. They want to say, well, you used to be this, you changed your mind. A lot of people change their mind.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank God for
and another thing they said that I don't think everybody understood where I was coming from. When Moses in Exodus chapter 1 and chapter 2, when he knew he was a Hebrew, and he knew he was the deliverer, and so he's a real patriot. Donald Trump is a real patriot. He loves his nation. People have said that for a long time. Moses, as a patriot, kills the Egyptian.
Yes.
Very limited success.
Yeah.
Donald Trump then Moses. Okay, Moses kind of failed, so to speak, as a patriot, but greatly succeeded as a chosen man of God.
Yes.
Of the burning bush experience.
Yes.
Donald Trump came so far, quite a ways, with being a patriot. And I believe that all that's been happening, I'll get to that from the most recent events. I believe that Donald Trump came so far as a patriot. I believe God's going to really get a hold of this man from this time on out. I'm going to believe with another anointing. I believe it's been prophesied
Yes.
that he's going to be baptized in the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Okay, so I believe he came so far as a patriot,
Yes.
and I believe God's going to take him deeper in the Spirit,
Yes.
and that what's happening now is to take him and conservatives
Amen.
and the church to another deeper level of purity,
Amen.
and we're going to come out of this. It's going to awaken some people,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
But I-
It is.
Amen.
Okay.
Wait.
He takes on Iran then for the limiting the flow of oil through that strait, through the ocean there,
Right.
and it takes them on for their hatred. They're sitting right there, and he takes them on for hating Israel and saying that about wiping Israel upon the face of the earth. He's very pro-Israel.
Praise God.
He's pro-Netanyahu.
Yahoo.
Man, that's a slaughter. I did it real well. I practiced today, and I said. Okay, so a lot of this that comes saying, well, Trump was causing interference in the election. Obama's the one that was against Netanyahu.
Yes.
Yeah.
The election in Israel.
Right.
What you sow,
Right.
you also reap. Okay. Now, a lot of what I'm going to say comes to this next thing. Now, one of the ways I try to discern what's happening right before us. So I always try to look at Israel. So I look at the Temple Mount. Look at that warfare. Look at the warfare over Jerusalem. Look at the warfare over Jerusalem. Look at the warfare over Israel. A fight for territory. Now, when this came out about Donald Trump, so this impeachment thing, when he gave that speech that morning, he gave that speech on morning, I was so excited, I was so elated. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion. In my opinion, Donald Trump is more than the president. He's a world leader. And one of the most effective world leaders in the history of America. That's just my opinion.
Amen.
That's my opinion. I was so elated that this guy was president. Then on the same day by 5 o'clock, Nancy Pelosi
Yes.
is on there going impeachment.
Yeah.
Now you have to understand they've been saying impeachment from the very beginning.
Right.
Yes.
And I could feel, I was so elated, then I could tell the wind had kind of been taken out of my sails. Then I began to ponder this. I want you to stop and think, again, I come back to Israel, come back to Jerusalem, I come back over the Temple Mount. There's a war for territory. Now stop and think. There used to be a guy that came to church here, and he and I were real close, and both of them have been really in the drugs, and I used to tell him, and he understood exactly what I'm saying. I would say that the devil's a speed freak because he never gets any sleep.
Yeah.
If you haven't done speed or crystal meth, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about, but it'll keep you. You can stay for days. I begin to realize Satan has a strategy. The strategy that's now happening in America is what Israel has been experiencing for some time. Satan wants to wear us down.
Oh, yes.
Be now weary
Yes.
of well-doing.
Yes.
You shall reap if
You don't faint.
you faint not.
Don't stop.
I believe for so long Satan has been warring against Israel, which is now not on fire for God. It's a secular nation, as a nation, but God has a covenant with that nation. That to get Israel so weary, they would give so then their enemies who say, "Oh, we want to destroy you. Oh, but if you give us territory, we'll give you peace."
Right.
To wear Israel down to say, "All right, we'll give you land, you give us peace, because they became weary of well-doing. They begin to lose the faith that, oh, they'll give us peace. They lied.
Yes.
Yes.
Satan is the father of all.
Lies.
Now, that's what Islam will tell you in the Quran.
Oh, yes.
That if you're talking to an infidel, you can lie, you can tell them because they're an infidel. Tell them anything, and if they're stupid enough to believe it,
Right.
because they're an infidel, you can lie. It says it right in the Quran. So they'll lie to people. So they lied to Israel. They lied to Israel. We'll trade your land for peace. Israel will give you peace. So then when they get in the land, they start shooting more rockets in.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Sure do.
God has ways and means and methods of strengthening people.
Yes.
And I think that you'll find easy street is not the way we grow the most.
That's very true.
Nations that begin to suffer persecution become stronger.
Yes.
Now in America, we're beginning to experience what's going on in Israel for a long time. Satan is making a power play for this nation.
Yes.
He always wants to gain control of government.
Yes.
Wow.
Every nation. Look at Adolf Hitler. Look at Iraq. Look at Libya. Look at the different nations. Satan always, whether it be even a school board of a school,
Yes.
city council of a city,
Yep.
the heads of church denominations, organizations, whether it be the governor of a state,
Yep.
congressmen, senators, always want to gain control of government. They're in the book of Revelation, 3 Babylon, there's economic Babylon, control the money, political Babylon, where they control the government and control the military,
Yeah.
and the only thing that can really stand against them would be the church. So there's religious Babylon, and they're in bed
Yes.
with the world. They're in bed with Satan.
Yes.
So they become powerless,
Yeah.
ineffective,
Yes.
because they've been seduced by the money, they've been seduced by the sexuality, by the power, and that's the picture, without me going into detail, I gotta be careful here. That's the picture that you see where they have a Jezebel killing prophets.
Yes.
They want to shut up the prophetic voice, say you want to shut up the church, shut up that's law, that's legalism. And if anybody says anything, question anything, they say, well, you're a homophobe.
Right. Yep.
You're a Nazi. You're a white supremacist. They want to shoot a label at you. They're going to lie. They're going to try to label you. And here's what they're doing, like the Donald Trump, because they want control of this nation. What they're doing with propaganda, lies,
Yes.
they believe we keep slinging enough mud against the wall, some of it will stick.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people say.
So let me just a rough estimate here, okay? Just a rough estimate. Let's just say upon planet Earth that about 25 people are conservative, are Republican, 25% are liberals, 25% are floaters or independent. They'll vote differently, and about 25% could care less about anything. They're too drunk, they're too high,
Yeah. Yep.
they don't even bother to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so both of these groups, see, they're battling over this.
Right.
So that if they lie against this group, they want to control this group and bring this group into them, so that this group becomes bigger.
Right.
So the lies, the accusations, shoot a label. So then if you were to disagree with them, see, they will say that you're full of hate.
Yes.
Just for the hatred's in them. The
Yeah.
lies and accusations come from them against us, and they say if we disagree with them,
That's right.
if we disagree, say, well, I don't really believe in killing babies. Well, we got to kill these babies because we want to save planet Earth. We could care less about people. Let's save some trees, some icebergs, flee on the people can die.
They had a funeral with the iceberg. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They did. It's horrible. Wow. It's just sick.
In John chapter 8, says that Satan is the father of all
Very
lies.
sick.
So when upon planet Earth, everyone has a spiritual father. If they're saved, then God the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of truth is their God. If people are not saved, not washed in the blood, then Satan is their spiritual father. So who is the father of all lies? So then they become very skillful liars.
Oh, yes.
Because the greatest liar is their father, and their father teaches them well. Amen?
Yes. The greatest liars.
In Revelation chapter 12, it says, Satan is the accuser of the brethren.
Oh, yes.
So accusation, homophobe, well, let me keep on. I gotta get this one part over here, what? Okay, Trump, then, he addressed abortion.
Amen.
In his speech, he addressed abortion.
Yes, he did.
And I just did this from memory. I'm sure he did, and he addressed the trade deficit with Europe to get that back into realignment. The trade deficit so far out that he addressed a one world government. I mean, he talked for quite a while about Venezuela.
Yes.
Wow.
He did.
He took on socialism,
That's good.
and he did this with a beautiful, gentle spirit,
He did.
a sober spirit.
It's beautiful.
And Rush Limbaugh said this, and I'm in agreement with this. Well, let me say that Sean Hannity said this about Donald Trump. He said he's a real quick learner. Even though he wasn't a politician, he's a real quick learner.
Amen.
And I believe he's learned, this is what Rush Limbaugh said about the speech to the UN. And I think if you're honest, you'd admit this. He said about the speech, he said, Donald Trump gave this tremendous, wonderful speech, and he did not step on the speech with his personality.
Oh,
Wow, that's awesome.
Because in the beginning, he...
Yes.
Let me put this in here. Imagine when the day the inauguration, and he's giving his speech, and the Republicans, the Democrat, all of them over there, and he says, "I'm going to drain the swamp."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's just so...
Both sides of the aisle.
Right.
Now, no one, including him, realized how deep the swamp was, and it covered the whole nation.
For sure.
And how many alligators,
For sure.
crocodiles, on both sides of the aisle.
Yes. Lots.
That's true, yes.
And Sean Hannity says this, that too many weak-kneed Republicans, so-called conservative, a couple of them speaking out against Donald Trump now.
Wow.
That's what the whole strategy is, to cause division in the camp of the conservative,
Yes, right.
to get them to turn against Donald Trump. Now here's what some Democrats have been quoted recently. We know this what they're saying. They've said that, and it's on record. They said we don't believe we can defeat Donald Trump in the next election, 2020. We don't believe we can defeat him. Our only way of defeating him is impeachment.
Wow.
So the lies, the accusation, they're trying to throw as much mud against the wall and hoping someone will stick upon the hearts of men and women. You see, because if there's 25% conservative, 25% liberal, and so there's 25 people, 25% that afloat, another 20. That's just that 25% of the people they don't care about. They don't care about anything but the next beer, next party.
Right.
The next day, they just live for today. Okay. Trump in his speech took on Russia. He takes on Ukraine. If you don't understand what's happening with Ukraine has publicly said they were the ones that was interfering. They were pro-Hillary and against Trump, and they're saying we were involved. They're publicly saying it.
Yes.
It's on record.
Yeah.
As a nation, they're saying
Yes.
we were on the wrong. We were controlling we were against Trump and we were pro-Hillary, and there were things going on illegally and under the table, and they're coming out publicly. And what I'm telling you, what's going on right now in Congress, it nothing to do with truth.
Right.
It's nothing to do with facts. It's all about, now don't miss this, okay? This is not about Donald Trump. This is about hatred for conservative biblical views.
That's right.
That's what it's about. It's bigger than Trump.
Like
So if Pence would be the next guy, it would be against Pence. It was against the second George Bush,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
because he was a Christian. That's what it's about. It's about demonic powers against righteousness. It's about unrighteousness against righteousness. That's what it's about.
Yep.
Yes.
And they make it look like Donald Trump. No.
No. But
Think of the warfare of Kavanaugh being
control.
nominated to big Supreme Court.
Yes.
It's all about killing babies.
Yes.
They want to control that. The warfare.
Yeah.
This nation is a great warfare. Hang with me this part, because I eventually we're going to get to some scripture. Okay, but I wanted to start this. So my the point, a very important point that I want to make is that I believe that Satan is trying to wear. Anybody beside me? Well, let me put it this way: a lot of ministers that you come that when you catch them in honor, they say they're really fighting a weariness.
Yeah.
Just the energy level, just the vitality, the fight. Satan wants to take the fight out of us. He wants to become passive, take the wind out of our sail, that we just business as usual, and not really have that fire, that anointing, that yoke destroying anointing within us. That I believe what's operating now in America is what we saw in Israel, and to get them, they're so weary of the fight. So weary of the persecution
That's true,
of the
yes.
rocket, the thing coming against them. All right, we'll give you the land that you want. You give us peace, and it was a lie.
Right. Yes.
So Satan trying. So my title tonight is overcoming satanic weariness. I believe that Satan wants to put satanic weariness. Satan is the prince and the power of the air. Every day, all day long, all the news program, they're on agreement. They're in unity. Hell's in unity.
Yes.
And God's going to get the remnant in unity.
Yeah.
Amen.
Really working.
Amen.
This is extremely important.
Really calm.
So Donald Trump takes on Ukraine. He talks about that. Syria, the economy, Afghanistan, the military.
Yes.
Takes on the United Nations. Takes on terrorism. Takes on socialism. I go, man, this man is this. There's just something different about this man.
Yeah.
God raised it. In my opinion, God raised up
Yes.
Donald Trump,
Amen.
Yeah.
and I believe he needs the support,
Yes. Amen.
Yes.
and he needs prayer.
Yes.
Yes.
The remnant needs prayer.
Yeah.
And you heard these prophetic words tonight, and I'll get to that more in a little bit. Okay, so what happens then? Donald Trump makes this tremendous speech, and then Nancy Pelosi has an all strategy. It was all pre-planned.
Yes.
So then she has a
Oh, boy.
ABC, CBS, and NBC. They're all in bed with each other. Okay, liberalism owns the media.
Yeah.
They're one. Okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, so she comes out. It's all pre-planned, and I love the way Tim Sheets put this. Defining moments are decided, but they were defining the moment. So they're trying to define the moment. He makes a tremendous speech.
Yes.
Donald Trump is getting momentum to be re-elected president of the United States, and they want to, the liberals, Antichrist, Jezebelic spirits want to control the narrative.
Oh, yeah.
That night, the news media will not be talking about Donald Trump's speech.
No, they
Right.
didn't. Nope. Yeah. They sure didn't.
If Donald Trump came up with a cure for cancer, they'd be mean-mouthing it.
Yes. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes. That's very true.
Yeah.
A goldfish, a goldfish can die in Brazil, and they'll blame Donald Trump. Way back there, he owned some stock in some pet store. If he would have done right, that goldfish would have died. We laughed, but we laughed to keep from crying.
Yes. Yeah. Really It's real.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
serious.
That's true.
So they begin to cry, impeachment, 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 impeachment. That's what they've been saying from the very time that they were so shocked that he won the election. How could this happen? It was all staged.
Bless God.
It's God. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Amazing. Wonderful. Yeah, God bless you.
So what I'm saying to you, okay, now, remember, let's just say estimate, 25% conservative, 25% liberals. So the battle is to try to control this 25% that goes back and forth, and there's 25% that they don't even vote. They don't even know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay, so I've already turned to. I've already quoted Ephesians chapter 2. Ephesians 2, 1 and 2 says Satan is the prince upon the air. So wants to control the airways, all the electronic devices, the message. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. And I think I will read the scripture to you in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that he shall also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if
Stop.
we faint not. Whenever I read, and I'm studying like this, sometimes the Holy Spirit would just impress upon me to look up at the meaning of the word in the Hebrew or the Greek. I would think, well, I know what faint means, but when you look it up, it means, number one, relax. If you faint not, so Satan could care less if we come to church. Lord, we don't get a fire. Just come and relax.
Yeah.
Like watching a movie. Hear a speech that you had no intention about doing, just come and relax. But the second meaning that really got my attention would be like a bow with a bow and arrow, like you're going to shoot a bow. You pull it back. What this means, faint not, it means to loosen the string so that when nothing will happen when you, to loosen the string of the bow so you can't shoot the arrow. That's what it means. If you faint not, so Satan could care less. We come there, just relax. Don't get excited about this. Nothing going to happen. Try to convince the church that the devil has more. If it's a miracle, the devil did it. God lost his power.
Yes.
Just relax. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. All right, 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 15. For all things are for your sakes, and that the abundant grace might be through the thanksgiving and many redound to the glory of God. For which cause? See, there's a cause. See, Satan doesn't want you to understand what a great part you have to play. That, let's just say, us right here have a part to play.
Amen.
In the people's life that we know, in the church, in the city, and in this nation.
Amen.
I believe even upon planet Earth.
Amen. Yes.
See, there's a cause.
Yes.
You have to, if you understand what a big thing that you're involved in. This isn't just tolerating a church service and going home like you watch a movie or a ball game. No, you're for the cause. There's a cause. We have a part to play in the future of this nation.
Amen.
Now, what happens? A lot of people they want to relax. They want to loosen the string of the bow. They have no intention upon getting involved. So I think God tell me to go to another church. They won't challenge me to get involved in the cause. They expect me to pray. And when we come to church, they, for which cause we faint not, we will not relax. But though our outward man perish, I'm getting a day older every day, yet my inward man is renewed day by day.
Amen.
Now God is writing this through the Apostle Paul, and Paul says, by the Spirit of God, for light affliction. Light affliction? Light? Affliction?
Oh, yes.
Some of them getting killed, some of them being arrested, some of them being beaten, some of them being put in jail for a light affliction? Very like what you went through, Jesus. For a light affliction which is but for a moment, compared with eternity.
Yes.
I still had to focus. It happened this week. I had to focus. I had to fight off thoughts, because when I got in the grocery line, there's 3 people in front of me. I had to focus. My light affliction. It didn't seem like a moment to me. That's 5 minutes of my life I can never get back. You're wasting my time. Get another cashier. I don't know. I'm sorry, God. I used to tend to pray. Everybody hopes I break through before I get home. This light affliction that is but for a moment worketh for us a far more exceedingly glory and eternal weight of glory, while we do not look at the things which are seen. I'm going to say something here now, don't throw javelins at me. While we look not at the things that are seen, but at the things that are not seen. The Bible said about that, seeing him that's invisible. Now, some folk are going to act like they don't know what I'm talking about. There's some attractive bodies out there. One person had the courage. Well, we look down at the things that are seen. Don't let your eyes feast upon that. But at the things that are not seen, for the things that are seen are temporal. That body that's so stacked down, everything will droop one day.
Amen.
It will wither. But then we get a glorified body. Amen?
Amen. Amen.
The things that are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
Amen. Thank God.
Amen.
Isn't it true that you can see the Spirit of God upon people?
Yes.
You can walk into a Walmart and see someone you've never seen before, and you know where they're saved.
Yes.
There's a witness of the Spirit. Then on the other side you can see, man, this person got a demon on him.
Oh boy.
Now, one of the most important things I want to say tonight is about this weariness. Satan wants to wear you out.
Yes.
Problem after problem after problem. Distraction, disruption, disfocus. This financial problem, family problem, house problem, car problem. Things going wrong. To wear you out. To try to get you to compromise. I want to read a prophecy, because when I saw what happened that day, I saw him give the speech. And then when I realized, when Nancy Pelosi came on and said they're going to begin an impeachment of things, first of all, let me say this, that it'll never get past the Senate.
Right.
So it's not going to happen. He's not going to be removed,
No.
saying. So it's not going to get past the Senate. The House may have the votes, but it'll never get past the Senate. So it's not going to happen. It's not. Their only hope is to throw enough mud against the wall that some will stick, and people. Oh, you careful here. People that will be listen to the lies of ABC, CBS, and NBC. The lies and the accusations. It's total propaganda.
Yes.
Unrighteousness against righteousness.
Yes.
Okay, they'll lie. Okay. Now I want to read this prophecy to you because two things came to me. Number one, you should reap if you faint not. Be not weary,
Yes.
well doing. You shall reap if
You faint not.
you faint not.
Amen.
I believe that's how a lot of ministers, whether it be male or female, gets into sin, whether it gets into pornography, gets into adultery, whatever they're agreed. I believe that things may go wrong within them. They get worn down, and then they get more turned on by the flesh than the things of the Spirit. And I believe that the remnant people are going to be tested. I believe the church is being tested, and I believe there's a separation of the goat and the sheep. And I believe that God has a remnant. He said, I will always have the remnant that will not bother me. Their need. Okay, the two things that came to me when I saw what happened that was in the same day. In the same day,
Yes.
two things came to me, that scripture, be not weary of well doing, you shall reap if you faint not. Then this prophecy that came forth on November the 23rd, 2018. The prophetic word says, some of you have grown weary. You have grown weary. You feel like I have deserted you. You feel like I will not keep the promises that I've spoken to you, my dear ones. I'm with you still. I'm with you still. I will never leave you. Do not faint. Do not faint, my precious one. Do not faint before you reap,
Amen.
my precious ones. But cling to me and trust in me. Cling to me and trust in me until you see.
Amen.
Now remember, Luke 24:49 said, tarry until you are endued with power from on high.
Amen.
So they go to the upper chamber, started with 500 people, but there were only 120 when the outpouring came.
Yes.
So then when you see other people walk away from the promise,
Yeah.
don't walk away because they walk away.
No.
There's a people that will get in position and stay in position.
Amen. Amen.
So you have to believe. So number one, we have to grow enough spiritually
Yes,
to
Lord.
discern when so-called word is demonic, soulish realm, someone flesh, someone trying to help God out, someone just trying to exalt themselves, draw attention to themselves, or this is God. The thoughts and the words originated with God. There's a true tongues interpretation, there's a true prophecy, and God Almighty is speaking to me now. God has just given me a word, and in the word there's an assignment, and then God will stand back. Will we come into alignment with the church?
No.
Come into alignment with the assignment.
Amen.
So that's why that you'll see people daydreaming, spacing out, talking to each other while the gifts are operating. How can I say it?
Taking it common.
There was a tremendous prophetess of God that used to come to the city once or twice a year, and it was Mary Ann Brown, a holy woman of God. I mean, she would, in my opinion, when she prophesied, birds stopped flying, spiders didn't crawl, bugs didn't move, doubt left you, blind eyes were opened. So we're at this ministers' convention. She's the speaker. So that kind of move, they had kind of gone into a little bit of exaggeration with the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Let me put it this way. The first time I took Pastor Jan there, I said, now, do you want me to tell you what's going to really happen here, or you want to just discern? So she said, well, tell me. I said, okay, this guy and that person over there, they're going to give 2 or 3 prophecies because they're evangelists, and they're trying to brew up meetings, so they're trying to control the pastors here, because they want to come preach a revival, so they're giving prophecy, so-called prophecy, just to get an invitation to come to church, because the pastor didn't have enough of God to discern this is just manipulation.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you're gonna don't play church game, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it right.
Amen.
Let's just go all the way with God. That's what we're about.
Amen.
Some people can't stand being around you because you're so committed.
Yes.
You're so committed that uncommitted people that heard the word, heard of things about the things of God, they have no intention upon becoming committed, so they'll discredit you, your church, your pastor, whoever, the dog, the cat, because they have no intention. You're so committed, you're getting on the other uncommitted people's nerves. And they want to make you out to be the problem. You're not the problem. You're so committed,
That's right.
they don't want to be committed. So they got to sling some mud
Oh, yes.
to see if some will
How you
stick.
know. That's how you know.
We need persecution. We need people lying and making accusations about it. In the beginning, it may negatively affect you, and then one day you realize that you had prayed a prayer. God changed me from being a man pleaser.
Yes. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, I
Yes.
hear that. I help you out.
Yes.
Other ways.
And God will bring you to him. You don't care what people think. You don't care what they
Oh,
say. You
yes.
don't care what they do.
Yeah.
So whenever you come to the point, I don't need your approval. I don't need to impress you.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. I don't care what God knows.
Yes.
God knows me. So you need some people to forsake you so that you will learn that God will never leave you and God will never forsake you. You need to be forsaken
Amen.
so you find one who never will forsake you.
Yes. Yes.
And you talk about freedom.
Yes.
Amen. Yes.
Hang on, we're going somewhere.
Amen, Lord.
Yeah. The answer's in here. I'm going to give it to you in the scripture a little bit, but this prophecy goes on. Cling to me and trust in me until Jacob wrestled until
That daybreak.
Jacob wrestled until the breaking of the day.
Yes.
Are we contending? Or have we gotten in position and stayed in position? Or have we become weary, tired, not tired? Cling to me and trust in me until you see your promises, until you see your breakthrough. You must wrestle until the breaking of the dawn,
Amen.
until you see your breakthrough, my children. I will give you the strength.
Amen.
God will bring you to a point we do not have the strength. You got to find God to give you the strength, and there's a change. I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I. It's Christ now that liveth in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself. God is bringing us to an end of self, of self-power. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Now, I didn't do real well when I said Moses failed as a patriot, but succeeded as chosen of God. Donald Trump went so far as a patriot, he gonna go to another level, chosen of God. And I believe that God is raising up intercessors. I believe you talk about a breakthrough that's going to happen. A breakthrough in this nation that will change the Supreme Court for decades to come. For decades to come. The God will take back that. Look at the... See, you got this warfare is not going to stop.
No.
If you think the warfare was strong over the last election, you wait till 2020. If you think there was warfare over Kavanaugh, and that's why I recommend this book. Right in this book, he named, it talks about feminism. I gotta be careful here because he talked about feminists that will say, you can lie about any man. That's what they did about Kavanaugh. They've done that about Trump. You can make any woman, anybody can make a lie. Well, he touched me inappropriately. He said, he touched me, he raped me, he incested me. You can lie because there's a war going on, and in the war there's casualty. And he names the people, he names the organization. Right in this book, there's a chapter of feminism. Man-hating spirit.
Yes.
Authority-hating spirit. I may say the other side, there's a woman-hating spirit too.
Yes.
Jezebel can operate real well through a man.
Yes. Indeed. It's really coming against right now.
Oh, yes.
So they're beginning to discern. I don't know if we can defeat Donald Trump, so we gotta sling mud against as many people's hearts,
Yes.
So we'll lie, accusation,
Wear down.
and I love Tim Sheets saying the way he said this. He said, defining moments are decided by those who are defining the moment. They want to define the moment. They want to define the conversation all day long, every day, against Donald Trump to try to seduce as many people to believe like them. Because they want control of this nation.
Oh, yes.
Satan wants control of every nation upon planet Earth.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They want to control the narrative
Yes.
with lies.
Yeah.
Satan is the father of all lies. Okay? Now remember that prophecy. Remember that scripture. You be not weary, well done, you shall repent.
Amen. If you don't faint.
You faint not. Okay, let's turn to 2 Samuel 11. Beginning of verse 1. And it came to pass that the year was expired at the time when kings,
Yes, Lord.
at the time when kings would go forth to battle, David stayed home. Tired. I don't need to go to Saturday prayer. I don't need to go to pre-service prayer. I don't need to go to Wednesday night deliverance. I don't need to go to Friday night Holy Spirit. I don't need to go to Friday night. I don't need to come to Sunday school. I don't need to come to church to be a Christian. I don't need to read my Bible. I don't need to pray. I don't need to forgive.
Don't need to do anything.
When the time came when kings would go forth to battle, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all of Israel, and they, not him, destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rahab. But David tarried. David stayed home.
Yeah, he did.
Now let's see now. You remember David? You remember anointed David? You remember bear killing David? You remember a lion killing David? You remember Goliath killing David? That he's called such a bloody man. Not only did he brought Goliath down with a slingshot. They call it a rock and a rag. But he beheaded Goliath with what Goliath had in his hand.
That's right.
Yes.
So David beheads him, grabs Goliath's head by the hair, and walks into town. This guy's a fighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
This guy will take you on. If anybody had to fight, this guy would fight you. You want to knuckle up? This guy was a fighter. Remember when you had to fight? Remember, you were so hungry, zeal for God consumed you. Remember, you couldn't wait. You came walking, you're leaping, you're praising God. You could not wait till the doors open. Now, send somebody else. David stayed home. When it was time to war, it was time for battle, time to fight, time to pray, time to worship. Didn't we hear that tonight prophetically?
Yeah.
Pray, praise, worship, weapons of warfare. Remember when we used to buy just about every book that came along and would devour it? The hunger, the fight. We loved David. We loved him when Saul turned to Paul the apostle. I fought the fight of faith. We used to fight. We had to fight. Now come and critique like Reverend Dry Eyes did. What do you do with those false eyelashes, huh? What do you do with that top button unbuttoning, showing sleeping? What do you do with that? Until the anointing fell.
Yes, Lord.
And I'm confessing and I'm repenting. Isn't it true that, let's go there, okay, let's go to Exodus chapter 15. David got himself in a whole lot of trouble, didn't he?
Oh, yes.
He walks out and he sees the naked woman, the beautiful naked woman. David saw her. David sent for her. David sinned with her. Then she sends him a message, I'm pregnant.
Right.
Then he has her husband. So not only does he have sex out of wedlock, he's in adultery. Then he has the husband murdered.
Yeah.
And then, who exposed David?
God.
Was it the devil?
God.
Was it people, or was it...
God.
Who told the prophet of God? Who told the prophet David's stuff?
Prophet.
Oh, there's denominations, there's organizations, there's churches that they don't want prophets. No more. They don't mind mild-mannered Clark Kent teachers. Get those prophets out here. Those prophets will tell them my stuff.
Yes,
God will tell them me.
Yes, he will.
These prophets will hear. These prophetic intercessors will hear. God will tell upon me.
Yes, he will.
So when the prophet of God shows up to David, when Nathan shows up, he gets a prophetic parable, and David, after everything, he lies. Hey, what going to do with that man? Who's that man? Wow. You ever had God say something to you and the blood just kind of drains out?
Yeah.
Woe is me. Woe is me. Okay, the point I want to make,
Yeah.
my title tonight is Overcoming Satanic Weariness. That every one of us are going to have to individually fight for ourselves. Our
Amen.
own way through. We have got, every one of us as individuals, we got to learn how to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. We got to learn how to contend for our own stuff. We got to deal with our own stuff, and we got to get that victory, that breakthrough. I stopped this at Exodus, a recent message. I ended up in chapter 14, fear you not, stand still today, you shall see the salvation of the Lord. In chapter 15, they're singing in verse 1, then sang Moses, the children of Israel, the song unto the Lord, and so they're singing the triumph. And verse 2 said, the Lord is my strength and my song, he become my salvation, and he is my God, I will prepare for him a habitation. My father's God, I will exalt him. Verse 3, the Lord is a man of war,
Yes.
not a whip, not a sissy, not a fancy.
Amen.
So, if the Lord's a man of war and you're saved, where is he?
Yes,
He's in you.
Yes.
In me. Yes.
Verse 9 says, the enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake. See, the enemy said, okay, there they are kept in the Red Sea. Now I'm on bread. They tried to, Pharaoh, type of Satan, came with 600 choice chariots, and every other chariot in Egypt tried to. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide. I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. That's what Satan wants in this nation. That's what Satan wants upon plunder. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I could care less. Let's kill some babies. Let's kill some people so we can hug some trees
Right.
and have pure water. They want to eliminate planes. They want to eliminate automobiles. They don't no more cattle, because cattle go to the bathroom and release something to the atmosphere. And highly educated Americans are believing this stuff. And socialism, anybody got a job, anybody got any money, let's take it from them, give it to people who won't work. Now, here's how they always want to throw a label. Let's just say someone has a million, you can say $1 million or $10 million. So let's say they got $10 million, and so they have this factory. So they have this factory, they got 100 people working there. So then they're employing 100 people at this factory. The owner has $100 million. He owns this factory, and he's got 100 people working there, and 100 people are meeting the needs of the family through their job. So then what socialism does, what liberalism, you horrible, wicked person, you're rich.
Right.
Exactly.
No, I worked hard, I got this money,
Yeah.
I'm employing, I'm helping other people,
Yeah.
so they begin to sling mud. You're rich, you horrible, wicked person, you got money, take it from him and give it to,
Right.
Yeah.
and put a label upon him, you're rich. Take it from him who worked and give it to him who won't work.
Exactly.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Yes. It's evil.
So then who's going to end up working?
Nobody. They don't get to you like that.
It's just, it's
Yeah.
surreal.
I mean, I'm not the most highly educated person, but I can add 1 + 1 + 1 and come up with 3.
That's all.
So they want to give free college to everybody, free medicine to everybody, free everything to everybody. We're going to pay your bills. Where's the money going to come from?
Right. Exactly.
So where are the taxes going to go?
Yes, sir.
Taxes are going to go sky high. Come on. Can't you add 1 + 1 + 1 and come up with 3? So that's what they're saying. You horrible, wicked person. You've got $100 million and you had this factory. You're employing 100 people and supplying the need. They got food. They can pay their bill. They got a nice car. They got decent house. They can live in a decent neighborhood. You horrible, wicked. You're rich. We're going to put a label upon you. You're rich. Well, I have purpose, and my gifting
Yes.
is to help other people
Yeah, I know.
meet their needs. That's just as much as a musician,
Yes.
Yeah.
a physician, a prophet, an intercessor. That's their gift. Some people have the gift of making money,
Yeah.
Yes.
so they can help other people pay their bills.
That's right.
Yes.
And they're making it, you horrible, wicked person. You're helping, they never put it, they're helping other people pay the bill. This last month, it came out today, in September, 136,000 new jobs in America.
Yeah. Like lowest unemployment rate.
The unemployment rate is the lowest in 50 years, half a century.
Wow.
Half a century. You horrible person, Donald Trump,
Yeah.
that's insanity.
Yes.
That's true.
I'm going to try to keep moving here, okay? Now hang on, because we're going somewhere. Judges chapter 3. Verse 1. Now these are the nations which God left to prove Israel. The word prove in the Hebrew means test, assay, examine. These are the nations which God left to prove, test, assay, examine Israel by them, even as many of Israel had not known of all the wars of Canaan. They didn't know of any fighting. They didn't know how to pray. They didn't know lay hands upon the sick. They didn't know how to cast out devils. So God says, listen, they don't know anything about warfare. So I'm going to allow some nations to be in the, I'm going to prove them, I'm going to test them. We don't really grow by never having any problems.
That's
Right.
right.
Yes.
That's true.
And if we spend 24 hours a day in lazy boy chairs, we're probably not going to grow real well spiritually.
That's for sure.
I wish my comrade Tony was here tonight because he helps me out with my sports messages. It's one thing to play a ball game. It's one thing to have an opponent. It's another thing
For sure.
to have a rivalry. It's one thing to play a rival.
Yes, it is.
God said, listen, you're too wimpy, you're too sissy. Sean Hannity is saying there's way too many weak-kneed Republicans in Washington, D.C. We need some warfare, we need some fight.
Yes, Lord.
God trying to awaken the church, God trying to awaken conservative, God trying to awaken anybody got any sense.
Yes, God.
Yes.
So I'm going to allow some enemies
Yeah, you sure is.
So it came to me, and I think I said this in one of my recent messages, that the message, that one of my previous messages came to me, that when I saw that what happened when Donald Trump gave his speech and then Pelosi got in there and said the thing, impeach, impeach, impeach. The thought came to me when God said to Moses, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. You're going to go give a word, let my people go. I know that he won't let them go, but I'm still going to give him the opportunity.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be the one to say, no, not me.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is, when I think in Exodus chapter 5, when Moses said, let my people go, Pharaoh could have let the people go and saved himself and the nation a whole lot of trouble.
For sure.
But since he refused to, I don't know your God.
They don't.
There are people that do not know God.
Yes.
True. They don't.
God brought them out. They could have confessed, they could have repented. God gave them the opportunity.
Oh, yes.
So God brings them out. God brought the people out to the Red Sea. If they'd have just stayed back there and let the people go, Pharaoh still would have had his son. Everybody, come on.
Amen.
That's true.
The multitude would not have drowned in the Red Sea
Yes.
if they had just let them go.
Yes.
So God brought them out.
Oh, yeah.
Could the same thing be happening in America right now?
Yes.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Now, those of you that, I don't remember maybe one of you remember the book. I've read so many of Rick Joyner's book. It may be in the past, I'm not for sure. But in one of the books, if you know Rick Joyner, I don't know him personally, but I know his spirit. If he erred, it would not be in the side of judgment, it would be in the air of the mercy. Patience.
Yeah. Yes.
Very long suffering. So God comes to him and says in one of these books, we're into a season that I'm going to ask of you to do a very hard thing. It'll be very difficult for you, Rick. I'm going to ask you to begin to pray for judgment.
Yes.
And that's going to be difficult because you're so in the love and so in the mercy, so I'm being patient.
Yeah.
See, we can say that we're really about love, but really we can become passive.
True.
And I believe that God drawn some out.
Yes.
And I believe that even much of the media, I believe when this gets done within the next decade, I believe we're in for a decade of destiny. I believe the next decade will determine the future of this nation. So let me just talk about me. If I don't pray now, if you don't pray now, if we don't pray now,
Yeah. Wow.
if we used to have the spirit of prayer, now we don't have the spirit of prayer, we're no different than David staying home.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That doesn't mean you got to be here every time the door's open. Well, so God says, now these are the nation where God let to prove Israel, to test them, to examine them. Have you ever, who's in your life? Who is God using to reveal you to you? It might be the one you see in the mirror.
That's true.
And God will no longer let you get away with blaming the devil, witches and warlocks.
Amen.
The witches and warlocks had no power over you.
No.
No authority over you.
Forgive
You've
me,
got power
Lord.
and authority over all of them.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now they're sending their stuff against. Send it to hell. Now these are the nations that God let to prove Israel. Who's in your life to help you Change the weakness into strength. Who's in your life to change your prayerlessness to?
Yes, yes.
Holy Spirit.
Did you notice it got a little quiet right
Yeah.
there? We're shouting there like no. Even as many of the Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan, only that the generations of the children of Israel might know to teach them war. Remember Exodus chapter 15, verse 3, the Lord's a man of war? Then I ought not to be a spiritual whim, since you're pansy.
Amen.
See, we can call it, well, I'm gonna love them. Sometimes we just gotta fear confrontation.
That's true.
Sometimes we become passive.
Oh, yes.
Only that the generation of the children of Israel might know to teach them war. What God's saying?
Yes.
You need to learn how to fight. It's been too easy for you. So I'm going to leave some of these nations. I'm going to leave some people in your life to.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So you lost your appetite to read the word. So
Yeah.
to teach them war. See, we can come full of apathy, bored with the supernatural power of God. Well, I don't think I ever did finish that story. The prophets of God. We were at that minister's convention, and the gifts of the Holy Spirit all were prophesying. And I looked at her, she's sitting there, she wasn't up yet preaching. It was at the end of the song, all kind of prophecy going forth, and I saw her kind of. So she just walks up to the pulpit and says, "Do you all believe in the gifts of the Holy Spirit?" Pooped out our chest, cocked our head back. Yeah, that's right. She said, "How come so many of you preachers are ignoring? You're talking, you're not even paying attention. God spoke to you, you didn't even pay attention."
Wow.
She rebuked us. I need, maybe one or two of you need, someone to tell us the truth about ourselves.
Yes.
See, we've learned religion, we learned some bad things in church. Legalism, putting me under condemnation. No, God, somebody just loved you enough to tell you the truth about you.
Yeah.
And you become such an expert in playing the role of the victim. That put me under condemnation. No, that's conviction.
Yeah. Thank God for it.
Well, did God tell me to go to another church? Go ahead, better you leave than God.
That's true.
Who is in my life, who's in your life to teach you war? For some folk, it's just been too easy.
Yes,
God has methods of taking us deeper.
Yes.
How many of you can just feel? Well, I'm not this way. I feel like the Holy Spirit wants me. I've said this before. I felt like this came to me today. Have you ever been so hungry at the natural that your blood sugar level gets low, and you get just a little bit? You're not mean. You're not a wicked person. You're just a little bit irritable. Your blood sugar level's gone too low. Your mind is experiencing the symptoms of starvation. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need some food.
Yeah.
Protein to give you blood sugar. Blood sugar gives you energy. Sometimes I think, oh, I needed that. No, I just ate something. I thought, oh my God, I feel like $1 million. Come on, the truth is, right? The truth is this: some of us are so hungry for God, when things come to distract us, we get a little irritable.
Yeah.
I don't have to take time and get you another cashier. That's 10 minutes of my life I can never get back.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to waste time.
That's true.
Time is valuable to me.
Yes.
Get another cashier up here. And I hear a voice.
Yes.
I'm going to change grocery stores. I think one or two of you heard this. One thing I don't get a lot of rewards in, I'm not the best waiter. So God says, listen, I could cleanse this whole thing, but I'm going to leave some nations in your life because you need to grow up. You need to get out of those diapers.
Yes, Lord.
Somebody needs to be potty trained. I need to grow up.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, Lord.
Have you ever come to a place that God is drawing? You just know that God has a whole nother realm for you, a whole nother realm, and then it's like hell itself discerns, and all these things happen. You're trying, oh my God, yes, I say yes, I want that, then, oh, hell comes up.
Yes.
You're not,
That's for sure.
it's no longer about revival, it's about survival. I was trying to keep my head from going under the water.
Yeah.
Distraction, disfocus. If anything can go wrong, it goes.
Wrong.
Not once,
More than once.
twice.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Pastor Jane all day long had to deal with issues. Phone call. Two different phones ringing at the same time.
Wow.
Two different phones ringing at the same time. Deliveries at the door.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice.
Phone call all day long. What is in your life to teach you more?
Yeah.
To take you deeper?
Yes.
To awaken you?
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Verse 3, namely the five lords of the Philistines, of the Canaanites, the Sonaites, and the Hivites, that dwell in the mighty living from the mountain, wherever, and verse 4 says, and they were to prove, to test, to assay, to attempt, to examine Israel.
Oh, yes.
What's in your life to examine you right now?
A lot.
To prove Israel by them, to know whether or not they would hearken to the commandments of God. What was that word? What was the prophetic word? What was the scripture? Be not weary of well doing, you shall reap. If
You don't faint.
started with upper chamber 500 and up to 120 when the outpouring came. Will I still be here when the outpouring comes? Will we still be here? Will we fight? Will we contend? What's in our life to keep us from that we got to overcome? Be not overcome with evil, overcome evil with good.
Amen.
Isaiah chapter 40. That's what these Friday nights are going to be about. Pre-revival, positioning, and preparation. There are people who do not want to be prepared. That will not stop me from getting in position, staying in position. I never quit the ball team because someone else didn't want to play ball.
Right, amen.
I never, in my heathen days, I didn't stop partying because someone else didn't want to party. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29, we're going to begin a little bit of the answer here at the end of this. Verse 29, he gives power to the faint. Anybody ever heard a little bit tired devil?
Oh, thank God, yes.
A little bit weary? I've been.
Yes.
That one day when Donald Trump gave that speech, I was so elated, and then within 2-3 hours, then the speech came, impeach. It took some wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit to recuperate, and I began to realize God's drawn them out. It's hardened the heart. Okay, could it confess? Could it repent? When you couple all this, I don't have time to really get into it with what Tim Sheets, the different prophets say there's going to be a revival. 1 billion souls saved.
Amen.
1 billion.
Amen.
Amen.
That would be bigger than the move of God when God used Moses to bring 2 or 3 million people out of Egypt. Bigger than and I believe that the baby boomers, the hippies, the dropouts.
Amen.
That I believe that was bigger than Moses bringing the people out of. There were more than 2 or 3 million people that got saved.
Yes.
So if you're a little tired, weary, if you're just a little bit discouragement, the wind has kind of come out of your sails a little bit, He will give power. Who's in your life to try to suck you away from what God has for you? Lies and accusations that try to keep you from fulfillment. Who's in your life? That's a Jezebel spirit. It's an Antichrist spirit. We got to recognize that people don't want the fullness of the things that God are going to try to keep you. They don't want fullness, and they're trying to keep you from fullness.
That's true.
You're not got to decide.
Oh, yes, Lord.
Are we going to obey God or man or woman?
Wow.
People can't stand people, but will kiss a dog. Or a cat.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I want to develop this answer here a little bit. I won't be offended if you can't stay longer. He gives power to the faint. The word power means He gives force, ability, vigor. He'll make you fruitful. He will give power to the faint. That means fatigued, exhausted, weary.
Yes.
Be not weary of well doing. You shall reap if you faint not. Again, the word faint there means don't let the string of your bow with your bow and arrow, don't slacken it, because you have no power to shoot your arrow.
Boy, that's real.
It means to relax. He will give power. He will not put you down, give you a little tired, exhausted. He will give power, ability, force to the faint, to those that are fatigued, exhausted, weary. A lot of ministers that try and see this is they're so okay, almost. Several years ago, I worked in the singles ministry of a church of 3,000 people. I was leaving and was driving down a ramp to come into the main road. As I began to drive down the ramp, God gave me a supernatural word of knowledge. And in this word of knowledge, it was almost like the sky was opened up and this demonic darkness was beating down. I mean, it's like I saw it, I felt it, I discerned it, I experienced it. And then the answer came. God said, the way to overcome this demonic darkness and heaviness and depression that's beating down upon planet Earth. And there was a prophetic word tonight. Now I realize why I'm saying this. He said the way you overcome it was a powerful praise.
Amen.
You can blow that demonic, satanic.
Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. God, it just, I preach by the Spirit. Holy Spirit knows quite a bit more than I am. Took me a while.
Amen.
Wow. Cannot put you down. If you want it, He'll give you power. But there's things we have to do. That's why I said what's in that deliverance is not the answer. You still got to pray, you still got to read the Word, you still need to come to church. There's things we need to do. People think I'll get 2 demons cast away and we'll live happily ever after. Not true. He will give power to the faint and to them that have no might. The word might mean no good, no power, no ability, no wealth, no substance. Have we got some holy oil?
Yes.
Passivity is not just about lack of physical strength. It means it deals with the lack of the fire, the zeal of God within us, that we don't have that fire, that hunger, that fight within us anymore. That's a lot of passivity, complacency, compromise, critique everyone rather than let God critique us. To them that have, He will give power to the faint. To them that have no might, He will increase strength.
Amen.
The word strength, I mean, you will be powerful. You will have abundance. How many want the abundance?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Now follow me in this next scripture. Even the youth shall faint,
Yes.
which means tired.
Yeah.
The young people will faint. The young people will be weary. And the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord, watch people with gray hair doing out dancing young people.
Amen.
That's what they're saying. Young people sleeping.
Okay. Oh, it's a Satanic.
Come on, saints of God.
Yes, there is
Yes, Holy
our.
Spirit.
Boy.
They that wait upon the Lord shall renew, which means they shall change,
Oh,
they shall grow, they shall sprout.
oh.
They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary.
Praise God.
You're going to see young people tired.
Yeah, it's
That's true, yes.
Tired
Yes.
until you drive them to the ball field.
Hey.
And they will run from the car to the ball field and run all over the ball field and come to church and tired. It's about appetites.
Yes, my God.
How many pulpits in America will talk about electronic devices and talk about sports idolatry? That's
Yes. Wow. Serious.
don't shut me down because I preach to someone. I have the courage to say amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes.
Seriously. Now let me bounce it out. Sports before I got saved was my God. Then I got a little older, and then sports and partying. A couple of gods. Then when I got saved, God allowed me to play some ball. And then one day God said, no more. It's time to prepare for ministry. I said, you're right, God. It's time to prepare for ministry. Your ball playing days are over. I said, yes, you're right, God. Comma. After I play one more year. So I got in the ball field to practice in rebellion. Hurt my back and they carried me off the ball field. Took me to the doctor. Back pain was so bad. Pain pill after pain pill, I don't feel nothing. Pain is so bad, have to lay my back on a conveyor belt, put the pain pills down my throat, and I'm still in pain. I used to laugh at Jonah, the slow-to-learn prophet, until I saw him in the mirror. Verse 31, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew, grow, sprout, change their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. They will be tired.
Awesome. Seems to take forever.
Well, Isaiah 42, why was that Isaiah? Isaiah 42? I'm thinking, the airport's not too far off. I'm thinking where the throttle is. Isaiah 42, verse 13, the Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy with me. His indignation, like a man of war. Is the Lord a man of war?
Yes.
He will stir up his indignation.
Praise God.
Did he do it against Pharaoh?
Yes.
Can he do it again?
Yes.
Can he do it
Again.
again?
Yes.
I want to just expand, for those of you that got the energy to stay, I want to expand just a little bit more. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy or his indignation like a man of war. He will cry. He shall cry. Yea, roar.
Whoa.
No whip sissy whispering in church. Roar.
Amen.
Amen.
Roar.
Yes.
The Lord shall roar from Zion.
Amen.
Yes, Lord.
Yea, he shall prevail against his enemies. Come on, saints of God.
Yes.
Has he done it before?
Yes.
Can he do it again?
Yes.
And who will he do it through? He'll do it with me or without me. He'll do it without you or with you.
Yes.
Come on, saints of God. We have got to come beyond hearing what we could have, saying amen, and never pursuing it. Who am I when you're not here? How am I spending my time? Who's in your life to try to keep you from fullness? Who's in your life lying to you, accusing you, calling you names, trying to keep you from fullness because they have none? You're embarrassing them because you're so committed and had no intention upon becoming committed. You're becoming so Christ-like, you're exposing the darkness in their life. And they're angry. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 1, please. While you're turning, I want to quote a couple. I love a guy by the name of Caleb. Caleb, 80 years old, he said, "Get thou me this mountain."
Yes.
He still had the fight within him.
Yes.
Give me,
Yes. This mountain.
give me this mountain. See, he realizes that there's more. See, some people, they don't want to change, they don't want to grow, they don't want to increase. Give thou me this mountain. What is it? What would you like for God to do within your life? New and fresh. Who would not want? Who in their right mind? Who wouldn't want the gift of healing? Who would not pursue? Who would devour this book? Who would fast and pray? God, you said I have power and authority over healing, over sickness and disease. Teach me. I want to utilize that. I want to use that. Give me this mountain. Give me the gift of healing. Question. It's in Romans 8. Don't turn to it. Just go because I've got you 2 Corinthians. Romans 8 verse 35. Who what? Shall separate us from the love of God? Shall distress, shall tribulation, shall persecution? Who's in your life to try to separate you from the love of God and get them as mean, as angry as they are? Or religious phony as they are? Not even saved, talking about they're Christian. Meat is a junkyard dog. Meat is a hungry alligator. Who shall separate from the love of God? Has it been sown within you? Is it within you? Nothing. I'm not going to hell for nothing. I'm not giving up God's purpose, God's plan. I'm not giving up my heritage or anything or anyone. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. Take him and come follow me. God has an inheritance. Second Corinthians chapter 1. I'm just going to go through this real quick because I want to have the time to go somewhere else for those who get the time. So he says that, verse 2, grace be from God our Father, Father Lord Jesus Christ, blessed be even the Father our God, the Father of mercy, the God of all comfort, who comforts us in our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort others that are in trouble. Verse 5, so as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so the consolation or the comfort shall also abound with us. And whether we are afflicted is for your consolation, your salvation. Verse 7, and for our hope is of you, knowing that as we are partakers of suffering, the nations, they say, deny Christ or we're going to cut your hand off. And I'm still having trouble standing in the grocery store line. I'm not kidding. Verse 8, for we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble that came to us in Asia. We were pressed out of measure above our strength. Above our strength. What are you going through right now? You do not have the strength, but you can get the strength. You do not have the faith, but you can get the faith, because faith cometh by hearing. Use the faith and you got to get more faith.
Amen.
Use the money you got to invest and get more money.
Amen.
Give an unwise person, the Bible said, call no man a fool. I was tempted. Give an unwise person $100,000, waste it. Give a wise person $100,000, they will invest it and make $1 million.
Yes, amen.
Every man has been given a measure of faith. What will I do with the measure of faith I've been given? I want to use the faith I got to get more faith. Faith comes by hearing and hearing. So I can build myself up praying in the most holy faith and put the word of God within me. I can eat bread of life. How come sometimes I'm so dead I'm not eating the bread of life like I should? We had the sins of death. First time we had the sins of death within ourselves. That we should not trust in ourselves, but isn't God putting the remnant in it? We can't trust in ourselves. If we could do, we would do, but we can't do it, so we have to find God. I got to find God. In my own individual life, I need to continue. You can't do it for me. I got to fight for myself. I got to get my breakthrough. Turn to page chapter. Oh. 2 Corinthians 12. Got to move fast. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 7, lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelation, that would give me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. I believe, this is my opinion, and a lot of people got different opinions, and my opinion of the thorn in the flesh was persecution. For this thing I besought the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me, and he said, my grace is sufficient for thee, my strength is not born, my strength is made.
Yes, Lord.
My strength is made perfect in weakness.
God's strength.
What enemies has God allowing? He said, I'm allowed these nations to remain in the land to prove you, to test you, to examine you. I'm going to help you grow. And sometimes the natural man, the flesh, hates it. Sometimes we need an enemy, the lie, the persecute to come against this. They will pray. They will read the word. They will be in church. My strength is made perfect, therefore, my strength is made perfect in weakness. The word weakness there means in feebleness and frailty, disease, and infirmity. I don't like to feel weak. When I'm weak, then I'm strong. I have to depend upon God. Something happens when you can't do it in your own energy. That's what Moses tried to do. He failed as a patriot. In my opinion, Donald Trump's going to go to another level.
Yes.
Amen.
And in my opinion, we are going to go to another level.
Yes. Amen.
Amen.
Come on, sister
Amen.
Rob.
Yes. Yes.
We're going to go to another level.
Yes.
And you have to understand the devil will have people in your life to destroy you.
Yes.
And God will have people in your life to restore you. And
Amen.
wisdom is knowing the difference.
Yes, Lord.
Come on, saints.
It really is.
Most gladly then I will glory. I will rejoice. I'll have joy. I will boast in my infirmity, that the power of Christ may rest. And Lord, devil, you're not taking my song.
Amen.
Nope.
You're not shutting my mouth.
Amen.
I'm going to put up the garment of praise for.
Yes.
Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, reproaches, necessity, persecution, distress of Christ. For when I'm weak, then I have to depend upon God.
It's his strength.
The natural man can't stand it. Okay, let's turn to 1 Timothy 2. Thank you for being so patient with me tonight.
Good.
This is just so real to me. Well, I got you in 1 Timothy chapter 2. I just want to quote something to you out of Matthew 11. Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, O ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, learn of me, for I'm meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest to your souls. For my yoke.
Truly is.
Sometimes we will wear ourselves out trying to do an image of the flesh.
That's
Oh,
true.
yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
when I know I'm in the flesh.
For my yoke, yeah, his is.
Yes. Your yoke is easy.
That's true.
Yoking with you.
Man, they used to wear, back in the 80s, they used to wear me out. I used to wear me out. My yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Yes, Lord.
1 Timothy chapter 2.
Oh, man, it's so true. Isn't that a
Now I want to say this again. No one here, no person knew what I was going to speak on tonight. But God knew. These prophetic words saying a whole lot what we're trying to talk about tonight, and what I felt that God gave me. Haven't you been well, let me say something another way. I read it through her. Her education far would go a bit on mine. Haven't you felt different emotions? Haven't you felt great joy? Then within 5 seconds you're weeping. And see, God wants to identify with his heart when you realize this city is sick. This nation is sick.
Yes. Yes.
Planet Earth is sick. The church, so much of the church is sick and immature.
Yes.
So much of the church is immature because so much of the pulpit's immature. We all need to get right.
Yes.
But see, there's moments you had this great victory, you'll just be weeping because, I'll be weeping because I'm so grateful. I feel the presence of God so much. I'm weeping because of that. The next thing I know, my heart is so sorrowful because I feel his heart for what he feels. And you're shifting so fast sometimes. And if you don't understand, there's different moods of the Spirit, and you're feeling the heart of the Father, you're feeling the heart of Jesus, you're feeling the Holy Spirit. There's moods of the Spirit, and you're feeling different things of God at different time. So the airport's in sight. I can see the landing lights. I'm thinking about reaching for the throttle, so what I'm saying is perfect team, tune in. I want you to listen. I'm gonna play that song. Do it again. I want to communicate. So let me put. I'm going to say this over and over again. I think that we need to understand something. That God has brought us this remnant. We've become so committed. There are people that do not want to be committed, and we are getting on their nerves because they don't want to go any further. They don't want to change. They don't want to give up their idols. But we're going to get in position, we're going to stay in position because one day they'll be willing to deal with this stuff because God creates circumstances out there.
Yes, Lord.
Yes, he is. Yes, he does.
I have prayed for this president more than any other president since I've been saved.
Me too.
And when I first heard he was running for president, I thought, this guy is crazy. This is crazy. I thought he got about as much chance of a snowball in hell. I'm serious. I laughed. Had no idea that this nation, the future of this nation, God has put him in this position.
So well.
I need to wake up. So what I'm going to share now, think of these prophetic words. And I want to, at the end, when I get to the end of this, I don't want to fib.
Amen.
That's good.
Bad side gets struck down the lightning bolt in church.
You
Lying in the
don't want
boat.
to fib after.
How did lightning bolt get in here with it? It's not even raining.
Oh, Lord.
See, you're so sober. The people do not want to hang with you. God told Samuel the prophet, Samuel, it's not you they're rejecting, it's me, God.
Amen.
You could go, so the further you go with God, the fewer people want to go with you.
Sure.
You'll be given an opportunity to turn back or to go forward. Don't blame other people. Don't blame witches or warlocks for the churches, for the choices you and I
No.
make.
That's true. Yep.
Think of the prophetic words, 1 Timothy chapter 2. I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, and intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men. There are different people here that have different giftings. There's prayer warriors, there's intercessors here. There's prophets, there's prophetesses here. There's shepherds here. Everybody has giftings, talents, and abilities. Discover them and develop them. Everybody, in my opinion, has primary giftings and then secondary giftings. Develop your primary giftings. There's people here, prophetic intercessors. If they tell me something, I take it to the bank. Supernatural power of God. So when it says there that intercessions, prayers, intercessions, giving a thank be made for all men, for kings. Now in America we don't call it king, we call it president. It's basically the same thing. For king, for all that are in authority. Pray for all that's in authority. See, rebellion, witchcraft hates authority.
Yes.
Hates anything or anyone in authority. So remember, never forget this, okay? Satan wants to gain control of them in authority. Wants to gain control of government, every nation, churches, schools, cities, states, federal, different nations. He wants to gain control of the government because he wants to control. That's what's happening in America. Now, will we, the church, rise up? Will we pray? Okay, for kings and for all that in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and honesty.
That's what it is.
Okay, this is what, I got a magazine in the mail and it says this, because this hits home with us. And in this magazine it said Eritrea is the North Korea of Africa. We call it Eritrea.
Yeah.
And so where this little angel stumbles in here a few years ago, she says, I'm from Eritrea. Well, where's Eritrea? Never heard of Eritrea. And here we got the angel, a prophetic intercessor from Eritrea. And you walk down the street with a Bible in your hand, they're going to put you in prison. Or worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so I let this part out. This is very important. That what is already happening in America is what has happened in Central America. The drug cartel, Baal worship, Ashtaroth, violence, murder. In Central America, whether it be Guatemala, Honduras, these different nations, the drug cartel taking over the government, the police, and if anybody stands against any pastor, any mayor, any governor, anybody in leadership stands against them, they'll pull them out the street and shoot them down publicly. The drug cartel. So when people come from Central America, that process has begun in America. That process in Central America is already operating in America, not to the degree. Why do they in Central America? They don't want to stop in Mexico, because they can see how far Mexico is. Mexico just a few steps behind what the devil has done in Central America. So they want to come to America. See what From there, the darkness that's there, what they can't, even church people, even spirit-filled people, can't see what's going on in America. Can't see the witchcraft, the Jezebel, the Antichrist. Antichrist means this, two meanings. Anti, which means against. Secondly means instead of. So what happened in communist countries, the government instead of God. No God, Antichrist, instead of. So that's what's in China, that's what's in Russia. It's a persecution, okay? Okay, that's the taking over nation. This is what is operating right now in Washington, D.C., across this whole nation, and ABC, CBS, and NBC, and the networks that you watch. About the first 8 minutes of almost every newscast will be against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
What are they doing? They're trying to sling enough mud to find some that will stick, because it's all about the election. It's all about get him out of office. We don't care if we lie. We don't care if false accusation. It's not about truth. It's not about facts. It's about get this guy out of office. We can't control him.
Yeah.
True.
That's true.
Because
Yes.
they're all about control. That's what witchcraft is. It's about control.
Yes.
For those that have those one word that I hear over and over again about America is corruption.
Yes.
The same corruption, the drug cartel taking over much of Central America, what they do to the people there, anybody that disagrees with them, they make slaves out of all the people, they rape the women, all that they do, they get them strung out drugs. The drug cartel takes over, corruption takes over. How could our Supreme Court believe number one, abortion, number two, partial birth abortion, and men marrying men and women marrying women, legal in our nation? They didn't want prayer in school, so now they got school shootings.
Right.
They want separation of church and state, and the reason behind the separation of church and state is so someone like Islam, Muslim, can't come and say, believe like us or we're going to kill you. That's Islam. Believe like us or we're going to give you the sword, which means persecution. And if you don't respond to the persecution, we'll kill you. We'll rape your wife right in front of you. We'll take your children. We'll make slaves out of you. We'll take your house. We'll take your car, and we'll kill you. That's Islam. Satan wants to destroy the corruption in America. Wants to destroy the whole family structure. For a homosexual, all the media. They don't want to disagree. They don't want to say I don't believe in that, because to them it's all about money. I'll say anything, and that's basically Ahab and Jezebel, the prophets of Baal. They were eating at Jezebel's table, so that they'd rather come into alignment with an Antichrist system, so they eat at Jezebel's table. In other words, have money and things, rather than God. That spirit's trying to take over America. Let me go just a bit. I forgot. Sorry, I forgot about this. Think of how corrupt congressmen are, senators. We now have Muslim
Right.
congresswomen
Yep.
who wants to destroy Israel,
Yes.
and they're congresswomen
Yes.
in this nation
Yes.
who hate Israel, and want to kill Jews and kill Christians. CIA, the corruption in the CIA,
Yes.
that they were exposed, in, with prostitutes in another nation.
That's true.
Comey, the FBI, who would? And when I was young, you talk about the FBI had such integrity. Now,
Yes, for sure.
The leadership that.
For sure.
so much of the CIA, the FBI, corrupt.
Yes.
See, this spirit is taking over. And that is the importance of the warfare right now. That's the importance of the church. That's the importance of someone that is so strong. God had to find an outsider that was not a Republican and not a Democrat. God had to find an outsider that was so strong that would be strong enough to take this kind of abuse,
Yes.
this kind of rejection.
Yes.
This takes a certain kind of man.
For sure.
Yes.
But we can't lay down and not pray for this man.
Yes,
Yes.
Lord.
The governors, the government,
Yes.
I really want to share this one more story. The corruption in police.
Yes.
Who would want to be a policeman today with all the whacked out things that they see?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw the story or not, but there was this quite young, attractive blonde who was a policewoman in Dallas. She worked a 13-and-a-half-hour shift and lived in an apartment thing where there's like, I think, 4 floors. And she walks in after a 13-and-a-half-hour shift. Now, let me say, for those who haven't heard the story, she, very attractive blonde, was involved with a married man, a co-worker who was married. They're sending whacked out sexual texts and emails back and forth to one another. She walks into this apartment thinking it was her apartment, and there was a young black man in there. And she shoots him because she thinks it's her apartment. She thinks he's in her apartment, but she's actually in his apartment. So she shoots this man of color, and the man of color passes on.
Yeah.
She makes mistakes, all kind of. She made mistakes before. The man hasn't completely passed on. She's walking back and forth out in the hallway, calling her lover, telling him to come by. When she calls the other police show up, they start giving him chest compressions. He wasn't completely passed on yet. She's more concerned about herself. So time goes by and they go to court. Just happened recently. They go to court. White, blonde, very attractive, shoots a man of color. The judge is a person of color. There's 5 people of color, I think, on the jury. So they find her guilty of murder. So the family has the younger brother of the man who was shot and killed. They have him, he's going to give the speech for the family. I don't know what they call that, the comment or something.
Yeah.
So he's going to give the talk, represent the family. So he's a Christian. The whole family's a Christian. The guy that she shot, they show film of him leading song service in church.
Oh.
She's an adulteress. She has a co-worker and having adulterous affairs. So the young man, the younger brother of this policewoman, the policewoman killed the man who passed on. The younger brother gives us this little talk. They bring him up, and then he's talking, and he says, "I forgive you." And he gives his talk. He says, I forgive you. He says to her, I see you as a lost soul. And I want you to meet God.
Amen.
I want you to get saved.
Yes.
Amen.
He goes on for a little bit with the love of God
Yes.
to this white woman. He's a young black man, a black family, and the judge is a woman of color. Then the young man turns, says to the judge, "Can I give her a hug?"
It's beautiful.
Yes.
And the judge is going, The police are going to see if a knife or something.
Yeah.
We've never seen nothing like this before. The prosecuting attorney, the defense attorney, all the people in the course, we've never seen anything like this. He says, can I give her a hug? And the judge is thinking, what kind of scheme is this? He says, no, please,
Yes, he did.
can I give her a hug?
Yes.
He gets down off the platform, starts going towards her. She runs towards him, and he embraces her. She starts weeping.
Amen.
The camera shows, and the judge is sitting behind the desk
Mm-hmm.
crying.
Amen.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, yes.
Thank you, Jesus.
They're modeling,
Yes. Lord God.
so they've been on GMA, Dr. Phil, they've been on all kind of shows
Yes.
showing, yeah, she did wrong. So the reason I said that she was involved with a married man. And this young man said, I see you as a lost soul,
Yes. Wow.
and I want you to get saved. I want you to find. After she'd been found good, that they gave her a low sentence. She could have gotten anywhere from 5 to 99 years. They gave her a 10-year sentence. She could be eligible for parole after 5 years. The judge comes out afterwards. The judge goes to her private quarters, goes get her Bible.
Uh-huh.
The judge, woman of color, turns out this young white blonde girl and gives her the Bible and says, take this to prison with you.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so amazing.
Thank you, Jesus.
This story has gone international.
Yes.
The story has gone
Yes, it
international.
has. Yes, it has.
This is a serious hour that we're involved in. Okay, I've kept you long enough. I'm gonna put this song on, then let's wait upon the Lord. I want the Lord may have something to speak through you. Let me put this